Hi Anti-Society, welcome back to the Antisocial Planet, and today we are checking out some more Spy Family, getting through more of this Yor-centric story that just makes me so happy and reminds me that she is legitimately an assassin. She kills people for a living, and I feel like I got lost in the housewife mom version of Yor that we're used to seeing, even though she can do some pretty crazy and very athletic things while she's going through that. I feel like she spent a lot of the early parts of this series being more of a comic relief character in the peripheral of other people's stories, and now getting to see her in full Thorn Princess mode, I'm like, oh no, she is actually scary. So it looks like we're about to see a showdown between her and this very alarmingly dead-eyed man with a pretty scary looking weapon on the end of a chain. I'm not really sure what's going on with that, and I'm hoping that we'll get to see Lloyd in a very tacky, multi-pattern, classic tourist outfit. I'm hoping with everything that I have that we'll get to see it, because I'm sure it'll be fantastic. But let's get into the episode. In 3, 2, 1, go. Starting off with the opener. Interesting. We usually have like at least a little bit of a intro sequence, which just makes me feel like there's probably something intense happening in this. Because usually if they like put the opener right at the beginning, it's because they're like, we have runtime things to get through and we can't interrupt the runtime with playing an opening song. It'll ruin the flow. I love that they have a tea cozy. There's just something about how quaint that is that I love. I'm currently hunting for a teapot that I legitimately like. All the ones I find are boring, and it makes me sad because I want like a really nice one. I want one that looks like it's at like a church tea full of grandparents, right? I want like a proper teapot. And all the ones I'm finding are just like plain and boring. I did find a bright red one the other day though, and I thought about it because I felt like it was a statement, but I really want something that has like a floral pattern on it or something. These are the things that I think too deeply about. You seem a little intense. I wonder about the like full mask that, what, Sati is her name, has? Like the rest of them have the like domino masks, and then she's a full mask. I'm just sus about her still. Maybe don't get closer to the guy wielding a weapon on a chain. I'd be like getting as far away as possible. I was wondering if she would she'd be like, my daughter is here. Are we helping cover this up? It's all just a show. Oh, I love when Team Forger is all working together. Oof. Because because Anya is there? I would be worried about other people getting hurt. I feel like I mean, we had the whole thing before where they're like, we're assassins, not murderers. So, like, maybe they'll also be conscious of the fact that there are other people around. Jeez. See, that's what I said. She's kind of scary. I'd be scared too, honestly. Oh, the little bow at the end. Yeah, agreed. Are we gonna get to see an outfit? Please. I need to see a cheesy tourist outfit. He needs to embrace being on vacation. I mean, Anya really is the VIP, right? Oh my gosh, it's better than I thought. Oh my gosh, it's so much better than I imagined. Mm-hmm. Committed. He's trying so hard though. The number of people Yod has just left unconscious or otherwise incapacitated in just random chairs. Yeah, good thing no one has gotten killed during this. You very confidently walked into an entirely dark room for someone who's apparently a trained killer. No scent. Interesting, I guess. Part of the being undercover of it all. I don't know, you seem a bit tired, man. Oh. Oh, we didn't buy the amazing, like, octopus outfit. Oh, I was gonna say, you'd better, like, pick her up and take her back to your cabin. Oh, she's so cute. You should be more suspicious. Use those spy skills. But it's fine now. You have Yod. It was bad when even like a toddler is judging you. Very good explanation. Good save. There are a lot of kids that had a really messed up childhood in this story. Strong talk. Yeah. I mean, you did just judge her about not remembering the knock. Now you're like, she can watch the door though. I do wonder though if Lloyd were to start investigating or be somewhat involved in the signs he's picking up on, if people would think that he is one of the assassins as well. That's a very cynical view of you to have, sir. I mean, 10 years isn't that long though. Like, obviously, everyone still remembers it. So it's not like a long enough time, I think, for it to be like stable peace. No pressure. I don't know if I'd want to have my back to the door after somebody shot through the last one. All that talk about being scared, and he's out. Did we send something? It's really interesting to have the mirror there. Oh, good way to having the phone there, but like out of focus. Hmm. See, I thought maybe it'd be Anya, but it does make sense that she's like, if I get hurt, something happens to me, then what's gonna happen to my family? It's a good question. It's just been your way of life for so long that you don't question it anymore. Bond! The things that we do for dogs. Oh, look at the tiny doggy. If I saw a big fluffy dog like that, I'd be running towards it too. I'd be like, is it friendly? Does it like head pats? Can I give it scratches? It feels like a monologue before something happens that is going to make you lose your cool. I like how this is the biggest challenge of his life that he's ever faced. This is a very dramatic monologue. Determined. I was thinking, I'm like, who's watching Anya if you're out here monologuing to yourself? She's so cute. Dang, Lloyd going even more casual with the clothes today. I mean, the thing is, she probably could just be like, we need to go on an adventure to help mom because she's actually an assassin and there's a secret mission happening on the ship. And he would probably just be like, kids and their games, I'm gonna play along. I was gonna say, this probably won't be very difficult for him. We've seen him play tennis. Not very encouraging. I was gonna say, you might want to feed her though. She might get hangry. All of them? That's impressive. I think she keeps having fun and she's like, dang it. It is cute seeing them just doing a bunch of activities together, though. Like, he's just letting her do whatever she wants. It must be so confusing for him, too. He's like, I let you do whatever you wanted. Why are you upset? Oh, her little face. Oh, he's got wholesome balls. It would have also been easy for her to just say, I want to see mom. And then Lloyd be like, oh, I can help with that. Like, Anya always overcomplicating things, much like Lloyd. Like, nothing is just simple. It always requires an epic monologue. A lot can happen in 4 hours. Oof, getting intense again. That was like surprisingly wholesome. I like that we got a little bit of a deviation into like Lloyd and Anya just like doing all these cute activities together and like him being a dad. It's just so wholesome. And I think like Anya wanting to try so hard to like help out Yod and like live that adventure and be like the stories that she loves. And the moment that she's like, oh, I'm actually worrying my father, to be like, I need to reassure him in some way, like having that more like genuine moment because she does like, and I love that they're like mom and dad for her, like, you know, they're mama and papa, and like they're a family to her, and it's not a matter of like it being a disguise or anything. Like, even though she knows why Yoda and Lloyd are part of this family, what their intention was, but to her, they're mama and papa, like they're her parents. And it's just so like genuine and adorable. I love Anya so much. And I loved the scene with Yod facing the mirror, like sitting in the chair and the reflection in the mirror. It was just like some interesting symbolism with that. Are they gonna notice that something's happening? Lloyd, I mean. That got so wholesome there near the end, and I think that was needed. I think there's some intensity to this story, and having some insight into how the war that was like 10 years ago has so deeply affected so many people. The people that are adults now were children when it happened, and there's so many layers I feel like we need to peel back with what it means to be a child experiencing a war, being part of a war, and then growing up and needing to like deconstruct that, right? Like, I think that anyone who has gone through something traumatic as a child and then become an adult, and that's like the moment when you have the emotional intelligence to really unpack it, it takes a lot of work, a lot of like moments where you realize why you behave the way that you do, and it becomes like a moment where it's almost like a light bulb of you finally understanding some of the weird quirks that you have, because you're like, oh, that's because this traumatic thing happened and I didn't know what to do with it because I was a child. And I think there's so much potential to that story, and it's, I think, easy to forget in this particular story with all of the fun like hijinks and spies and assassins and comedy and epic dodgeball fights that there is this very dark undertone to why all these people have been brought together and why the current storyline is happening. And I just find it interesting that we keep meeting people who have their own dark backstory, and there's a reason that they're the people that they are, and having that contrast between the people like Lloyd, who are like wanting to protect people and say, I don't want there to ever be a child to cry or to go through what I did. And then the other side of people who lived through it and have become very cynical because of that experience. So it's interesting to have that, and then immediately contrasting that with these wholesome family moments. Obviously there's some comedy in this too. Lloyd's outfit was fantastic, but having those wholesome, genuine moments, especially in contrast with Anya, who is growing up obviously with her own traumas because of her telepathy and messed up stuff that happened to her as well, her own traumas, but not the same as having gone through a war in the way that the other adults around her have, and contrasting that with her existence as a child post-war, and the way that the adults around her interact with her, and why it's important to them to protect her, or in certain ways be like jealous of her getting to have a normal childhood without knowing about her own experiences and stuff. But I just love the sincerity and wholesomeness of that interaction between Lloyd and Anya, of Anya using her abilities and understanding that she is causing Lloyd stress and upsetting him, and him having a bit of a panic, analyzing all of his actions to figure out what he did wrong and if he can fix it, and her having that moment of saying, I'm fine, I'm actually fine, and it's not about you, and saying, I want to find my mom, I want her to be here, and getting that genuine connection is just a really nice moment to have there, especially with Yoda, that scene where she's sitting in front of the mirror and just having the two of her like sitting there looking at herself and reflecting, literally a reflection in the mirror, and then also reflecting on herself of, what am I doing this for? Because when she was thinking of what's important, it was her brother, Lloyd, Anya, and she's okay, why am I here then? Why am I doing this if what's important to me isn't affected by this at all? And I don't know if we're going to get into some things where it's going to be like, this is for the greater good, or there's some like greater cause that she's helping, much like Lloyd saying like he wants to protect people so that they don't have to go through a similar experience as him. Or is she going to have a moment of walking away from it because it's not going to have that greater good in mind? It's going to be something more selfish or more closed off that's not going to align with her own values and what's important to her. Yoda's definitely coming to a turning point where she's going to have to choose between continuing to be the Thorn Princess or being Yord Forger. And what does that mean? And it's why I want Lloyd and Yod to find out about each other, because I feel like once they do, they're going to be a great team, for one. And two, I feel like their actual values and morals are going to line up super well, and they're going to be able to do a lot more in line with that with each other, as opposed to being part of these organizations or whatever, right? They're gonna have their own team. I feel like it, once they actually find out of each other. I'm assuming they will at some point. There's no way that this continues to be a secret forever. But yeah, just, I don't know, there's some great moments in these last couple of episodes of really grounding the narrative in how dark this world actually is, despite the comedic nature of the show. It's more of a feat that the characters have the joy and the genuineness and the comedic personalities that they have in spite of the things that they've gone through, as opposed to being in a world that is a little bit ridiculous and light like some other comedies are. Like, there are legitimately really dark things that all of the characters have gone through and that the world has gone through in this fictional setting, and yet there's this comedic feeling to the whole thing. And I think that just goes back to, I don't know, the people who have the best sense of humor are the people who have gone through the worst things, because you have to find a way to laugh, because the alternative is letting it crush you. And there's a kind of absurdity in awful things happening because they don't seem real. And there's a part of your brain that just says, no, that's fake, that's made up. There's no way that's an actual thing that happened to me, because it feels absurd. It feels like it's something that can't be real. And I think that a lot of people who have been through some of the darker things lean into that absurdity, because they're like, obviously absurd things happen because I've been through some of them. So it's, I don't know, it's an interesting balance that this series has that I just find really intriguing. And I think that we leaned into a lot of the comedic beats for a while, but I love that at this part of the story, we're really balancing more between those moments of kind of these darker undertones of the world and the more comedic parts of the story. I don't know if I just rambled there, which just didn't connect any of my thoughts, but I hope you enjoyed watching that along with me. Click this playlist to go and see my previous reactions, or you can subscribe so you miss next time I post a Spy Family reaction, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!